Welcome back. This is Greg Hughes with 90 Second Website Builder. This is our Quick Start video series, video number 9. And I'd like to continue talking a little bit about navigation and how to make navigation for your website using this software. In the previous video, we talked a little bit about it using what we call the CSS menu, this tool right here in the navigation tools, and we ended up making a nice navigation bar. But I'm going to go through rather quickly the rest of these navigation tools so you can kind of see that there are multiple ways to create navigation for your website. We'll start with the Go menu since it's next, and I'm just going to draw one out here. This is a real simple way to take someone to a link on your website or even to another website, and like with anything, you just double click on it and begin creating your navigation items. So I'll click add, and I can say, I'll take them to my card tricks page. I type in the text I want. I'm going to use an internal web page link in this case, so I'm going to select that page. OK, and OK. And so what I've done is I've created an object or a selection for this menu, and when the user selects this, it will take them to this page. So if we preview this, you'll see that there is something to select. There's only one selection, but that's how it works. And selecting this and clicking go would take us to that particular page. Okay, let me close the preview. We'll do a little more. Let me move this over to remind you that I have on this particular website project 3 pages, the index page that we're on now and a couple of other pages just for demonstration purposes. So let's do this. I'm going to double click on my Go menu again. Let's add another link. Let's make this one be called ropes. Again, it's an internal web page, so I just select this, click OK. Okay, let's do one more. This time I'm going to add an outside website because not every link has to be an internal web page. Go to website, type in the address for it, click OK. And now I've got 3 options under my Go menu that my user can select and the address to where they'll be taken when they select those. There's some other options too. I can change what the button text says. Right now it says Go, but it can say whatever you want it to say. You can change it to. Click OK, and there it is. Let's preview it one more time. And now you can see I've got multiple selections. I could select any one of these and click the button, and it will take us where we want to go.
Hi, this is Greg.
All right. Enough of that. Let's move on. That's the Go menu. There are others. So I'm going to select this and delete it just so we can make room here for a demonstration. Move this out of the way a little bit. Let's look at the MegaMenu. Wow, the MegaMenu is really something. It's appropriately named because it's a way for you to make a really big menu with a lot of items under it. I'm going to draw one out here, and you can see it is right here at the top of the page. And it's given me 3 buttons. I'm going to double click. And just like we were doing before, we can select these items or these buttons and edit them. But before I do, I want to show you what the MegaMenu does just with the default setting here. I'm going to click F5 and preview it. This will be the best way for you to see what it really does. The MegaMenu allows you to create navigation like this. Watch, I'll hover over the first button, and you'll see a huge area that we can have. In this particular case, we've got 4 categories all laid out in columns here. Each one of these categories can be named, and you don't have to use 4. You can use more or fewer categories. Each one of these links can be named and linked to wherever you want to link, of course, so this is all customizable. And each button can have its own layout. So button number 1 in this case is a 4-column layout sort of a thing. And if I go to button number 2, you can see it's laid out differently yet. Again, all of this editable. Button number 3 is using this particular layout. And that's just as a demonstration. You'll notice that it has a certain look to it. It's got this sort of white background and the little red triangle there. Well, the way it decided to look that way is this particular object has a feature that not all of the objects have. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to close this preview so I can show you more what I'm talking about. This particular style was picked up by what's called a page theme. Every page in your website can be associated with a theme. And here's how that works. I'm going to right click on the page properties, go to the style of the page, and you'll see that there's an area here called theme. There's some built-in themes. This one happens to be called Blitzer, the one we're using now, but I can change that by selecting a different theme. There's kind of a little preview of what they look like here. So let's work with Dark Hive just to see the difference. I'm going to click OK, and now you'll see that the MegaMenu picks up on the Dark Hive theme, and it's got its own little look. So let's do an F5, see what that looks like. You see it's got its own particular look based on that theme. Some objects allow you to do that. You can also edit the object style any way you want to. You can change it all up here and not use the theme. You can change the Arial, you can change the font, change the size, how it animates, the buttons, all of the stuff that you can imagine, you can play with that. But the MegaMenu is great because it allows you to create all of these different layouts. I'm going to edit this one so you can see what it looks like. Here's where we decide what the button says. So cards, whatever we want that to say, and then this is what would be under the button, the categories. And again, we could edit these just by clicking edit and changing the name of those categories. Each of these would be a link. We can remove links, we can add links, we can edit links. Obviously, when you click edit, you can change it to whatever you want, link to an internal page or an external website. Here are the different layouts: columns, rows, 2 columns, the 4-column layout, whichever way you want to go. Each one of your buttons can have its own unique look. But the style, of course, is based on that page theme. Okay, so that's basically how the MegaMenu works. It's great if you have maybe a huge inventory, or maybe you're a contractor, you want to list a lot of your services and categorize those services. That would be a great use for the MegaMenu. But we've got several others, so let's move on. I'm going to have to go quick so this video isn't too long. There's the menu bar, which is similar to the CSS menu, the one we already have on the screen, but the menu bar works a little bit differently in that it allows us to create what's called a hierarchy menu system. I'm going to double click and you'll see what I mean. Here's where we choose our menu items. It starts us off with 2 items, item 1 and item 2, but you'll notice that it has some items underneath. So we could organize our navigation in what's called a hierarchy. I could have an item here, and then a sub-item, and then even sub-items. And of course, obviously you won't call them these. These are all editable. You click edit, and you change the name of it here and where it links to here. But this is what it looks like. If I click F5 and I hover over, you'll see what happens. There are sub-items, and then this one has sub-items. And that was all based on that hierarchy that you saw in the edit window. So we can create items and sub-items. That's another great navigation tool. Again, with styling it, you can use the Style tab and just go with a particular theme like we did before. Here's where those themes are. The page themes are right here in this case, or you can edit the theme right here. So that's the menu bar, not to be confused with the navigation bar, which is quite a bit different. I'm going to delete that menu bar, go get a navigation bar. A lot of people like to use the navigation bar. I'm going to draw it down here because it is image based. Navigation bar uses buttons that have images, and it starts you off with a vertical orientation. You see the buttons are going up and down, but I can change that. I'm going to double click and change this to horizontal. Can change the spacing and some other things too, but for now I'll just do that. Let's move it up here so we can see it a little bit better. And again, I can edit the links and the what the buttons say. Let me look at the style again. This is interesting. Since it's based on images, you get to choose the images you want for both the normal state of the button and the hovered state of the button. And while you're editing this look, you have a nice little preview right down here. So you can see that when I hover over the button, it changes a little bit. That's because the hover button has kind of a brighter edge to it. I'll do it again. I'm going to pick a different button here to make it a little more obvious. So let's use this button for our normal state. You can see my preview changed and see how my hover looks like that. Let's change that to a slightly different button. Instead of this one, we'll go like this. And you can see these are just a little bit different so that when I hover over it, it gives sort of that pressing a button feel to it. Can't read the text because it's white, so I could change that up here, make that black. And then I would want to change the hover to be something, it could be black or red or whatever I want it to be. And again, I can test it down here. Once I've decided that's what I want my navigation bar to look like, I just click OK, and as you can see, it's picked up on my style changes. And again, if you'd rather use a page theme, just check this box, and it will pick up on the page theme that we happen to be using right now. Okay, so let's stop there and move on. I'm going a little bit quick, but that's because there's a lot to cover here, and you can really figure a lot of this out just playing around with it. Let's delete the nav bar, and I'm going to skip the site tree. That's a little bit different. We'll cover that in a different video because it's slightly different. The slide menu is kind of fun. I'm going to do this really quick. I'm going to draw a slide menu. This is a nice way to create navigation with some sort of animation. Here, the categories are called folders, and then they have items. I'll double click and you can see that again we can edit this. The style is all editable here. And one of the things that you can edit is how this particular object animates. Right now there's no animation, but you'll see I have some options. I can make kind of a nice slide. And I like this. I'll show you what this looks like. We click OK. I'm going to do an F5. And this particular navigation tool looks like this. When we hover over the button and click on it, it toggles open and close, and the same thing with this. And we can create more of these folders or more of these categories and name them what we want. But it's just a really nice effect for navigation. Okay, I'm going to close the preview. That's how the slide menu works. Let's delete that and go to the tab menu. Also a very great way to make your navigation appear nice and organized here at the top. This is a tool that gives you the ability to sort of look like file tabs. And I'm going to double click on it here so you can see what I mean. Let's go to Style. And here's the preview of it. One of the things you might want to do with this particular menu is make the corner sort of rounded. It's called radius. So I can increase the roundness. I just moved it up to 7 and you can see what happened. These look a little bit more like style tabs. Let's look and see what that looks like. So now I have sort of a tabbed menu system. And like with every menu, again, you select this, you edit it, and you create your links that way. There are some other layout things you can play with here, how far offset they are, the spacing between the tabs. All of that is editable. And again, you can use the page theme for this if you prefer, just by checking this box, clicking OK, and now our style tabs have picked up on the page theme. It still keeps our radius because you can mix the page theme with your other settings as well. So we still got to choose the radius and some other things, but as far as the color and layout goes, all of this was set by checking this box, the page theme. Okay, let's get out of here, so you can see how that works, and let's move on down to the text menu. Here's a real simple one we'll end with. The text menu is just a quick way to put some text out on your site and use it as a menu. Now, you wouldn't have to do it this way. You can just take the text object and write out text and make each one of your words be a link if you want. You can just do that with the text object. But this is just a faster way to do it if you're going to have a text menu. So I'm going to double click and you'll see that, again, the usual thing here, you edit the links, what they say and what they link to. In this case, the style tab gives us the chance to put what they call delimiters between the words. So I can change this. I'll put a couple of colons here just so you can see. Click OK. And it just kind of puts those characters in between the links. Double click again. And you can just mess with this. It's mainly text. So the changes you're going to make to this are mostly about font and maybe the background. You can change the font size, etc. And that's basically how we would use the text link. I just made an ugly one. You don't have to do that, but you know what I mean. So again, you do all of that in here. So I'm going to stop this video now because I tried to cover a lot of information here in one video about navigation. The point is for you to play with those navigation tools and find the one that's right for you. When you're creating your website, one of the mistakes people make is they actually start to make their navigation sometimes too early on in the process. You really don't need navigation until you have some pages built into your website so you have something to navigate to. But of course, there's no rules. You can do that whenever you want to. I just like to plan my website a little bit, so once I have my pages done, maybe if this is going to be a 5 or 10 page website, I might finish those pages and then start working on my navigation so I can do that all at once. But you don't have to. The idea is to be creative and have fun, and hopefully that helps you get started using 90-Second Website Builder.